I want to start by saying I do understand that you say in the book there are pictures and they are 4 years old and they are bad.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. But the thing is, you needed to make those drawings then.
And to improve from them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is really important. And my favorite artist, his name is Chuck Close. He's a New York artist. Look him up if you have the time. And his motto is, inspiration is for amateurs. We just show up every day and get to work.
Yeah.
We, the other artists, the real artists.
Yeah.
And what he means is that just by working and creating, you are getting better and better and better. And it is not that just in one day you just get this idea and you have the best idea. You needed to make those drawings 4 years ago. And you say it's bad. No, it's the beginning. It's not bad. It's the start. And of course, those drawings aren't like the drawings that you make now.
Yeah.
But you cannot make the drawings now if you hadn't done those drawings 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really want to stress that because I used to think when I was young, I don't like that anymore.
I don't show it. Also,
no,
because
okay,
it's like drawings of stuff I used to like when I was young.
Of course, you don't have to show it. You
Yeah.
can show your work now,
Yeah.
but you shouldn't be like, it's a start.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, the stuff I made when I was younger looks very abstract. I maybe still have a painting from when I was 5, and it just looks like a very, very abstract horse of blue and black.
Yeah, well, maybe you will go to abstract later on. I'm more of the what you call it? Yeah, realism, obviously, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I do like realism, but I also want to explore the other parts of art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the lamp design, one design that I drew down was where it would be hanging like that, not very big like that, but it's more long with Japanese cranes hanging sort of like that, and then lights hanging underneath them. Mm-hmm. And also maybe, I was thinking if I could, maybe in between each crane, to have a string that has a little resin bowl that has like a flower seed from the barter bloom. Because I've played around with resin a bit, but it's expensive and everything, so.
Yes. Well, I have the idea that you have quite an idea already. That's great.
Yeah, I was also thinking of other ideas while talking to my mom, like making an octopus holding light bulbs, because we were watching a video on octopuses today. And also another one on making an upside down hanging cherry blossom tree with resin flowers.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And you say you talk about it with your mom, and I really think it's really good to talk about ideas with people, and not just keep it for yourself. Yeah. Because with talking about ideas, you get more ideas, and one turns into 3. So that's really good that you do that, and you don't just keep it for yourself.
I also talk with Ayaka. Ayaka is really good. Yeah, it does look very Basquiat-y, that one.
That's good. Yeah. Talk to people and share ideas and be open for other ideas.
Yeah.
But I have the impression that you are, so that's good.
Yeah, I try to be as open as I can with things.
Yeah, that's good.
So what is your next question?
My next question. So
we're now having more of a conversation,
so
which is nice too.
Yeah. I'm really bad at talking to people, so it's...
No, you're not. Not at all.
But so we already know about the materials, sort of. It's on the website as well. It's also all the things that you have in here. You didn't make a lot of like the helmets that... Where do you get these from? Do they also inspire you?
Yes, they do inspire me. I've always been a collector of all sort of things. And now I have the space, so that is nice. And I buy things, I trade, I find, and I buy, trade, find, and people give things to me. So those 4 things, and people, they know that I like quirky, strange things. So sometimes people have it and they tip me. They give me a tip saying, "Hey, that's for sale," or somebody. Like for instance the snake skin, that's a guy that worked around here, and he came by with the snake skin in a roll, and he said I was cleaning up the the house of I think his uncle or something. And he said, I found this, and I thought you might be interested. Do you want it?
Yeah.
So I said, of course, I said yes. So I sometimes get things and I find them and I trade and I buy. And I have them because I just like the stories behind it, and like I said, I've always been a collector.
Yeah, I also like collecting, but Papa calls it hoarding.
Yeah, that's what my wife also calls it. So.
Thank you.
And what do you collect? What are?
Well, I have all sorts of things. It's mainly horse things because I was really into horses when I was younger. Now I still like horses, but it's not an obsession as it used to be. I found other things, but I still keep all my old horses. They're from this company called Schleich that makes all realistic model animals that people can play with.
Yeah.
And I still have a lot of them. Some that aren't even really made anymore, and they just sort of. I have a shelf above my desk that's just covered with them, and sometimes some of them have really worn out paint, so I just give them a new coat of paint. And I like to practice like little details of herring and sort of eye details and everything.
Yeah. So you use it for sort of art purposes as well.
Yeah. I also sometimes do like giving them things like adding flowers, little clay flowers to their manes and stuff. Yeah, I also do other animals. I have some dogs as well. And I also do sewing. I just sort of play around with everything.
Yeah.
Because I like everything. I don't want to be stuck with one thing.
No, you're absolutely right.
I also want to do wood, but my mom says it's too dangerous and I'll cut myself and everything.
Oh, you have to be careful, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are things of course, when you want to cut it, that is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, we did do carving in lino.
Yeah, carving.
Lino carving to make stamps.
Yeah.
But I mean, we do have carving tools that belong to my mom's grandpa because he used to carve wood. We have some of his wood carvings at home.
Yeah.
But my mom's like, oh yeah, don't use this for wood. They're too old for that, but they're still fine. So she just uses it to make little stamps out of eraser-like material.
Yeah, you could start with really soft wood. That could be an idea. Like, I don't know, balsa wood is pretty soft. I don't know if you can really carve it. But you could start with that, and of course, don't start with the really thick, heavy wood because that's really hard. And then you have the chance that you slip out of it, and then
I've definitely stabbed my fingers.
I have had it because I've been creating stuff my whole life too. Of course, I didn't start with this what I'm doing now. It evolves. So I've done my cutting and stuff and hurting myself. I think this I think I fell into something.
I've cut myself, especially here. I know I'm not supposed to put my hand in front, but sometimes I'm just so busy.
Never do it. Yeah, of
I
course.
forget while I'm busy doing
That's
it.
how it happens.
So I just sort of forget the rules. It's fine. Like, it doesn't hurt that much, to be honest. It just sort of, it's bleeding all over. That's just the mess. That's the problem.
But it's really good that you take on all different sorts of creating, and that's really good.
Yeah, I also do a bit of sculpting, again with horses, just because of the anatomy. I like studying the anatomy of animals. So I'm specifically doing equines, canines, and also wings, because wings are very interesting.
Yes.
I've never sculpted wings, but I do like to read about them and try drawing them and stuff. Yeah, I'm also practicing drawing humans, but humans' noses are very hard to draw. Because I saw this a sketch of a lady that looks like Debbie Harry from the
Yes,
movie.
it is Debbie Harry.
Yeah, it looks like Debbie Harry.
Yeah,
I like
it
her.
is Debbie Harry. I like it too. I used to be, not really in love, but I was just...
In Lost.
Huh?
In Lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like bands from back then, like Blondie and David Bowie. I love David Bowie. He's one of my
And
favorite.
Talking Heads?
Yes, he likes him a lot. It's usually because of Papa's music.
Yeah.
But I don't listen to the classical stuff that much.
No.
Not really interesting. Other than Jan Tiersen.
You will. That's an acquired taste. So
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah, I prefer listening to rock more than what we have now, like rap and hip hop. It's too soft for me. You like as gesturing.
I know she's directing the movie.
Well, at least I'm fine with yoga filming, comfortable with that, because I know her.
Are there some other questions that you...
Let me think. Going over material. I'm sorry. I had a list on my phone, but I died. So let's see. I don't know. I've never interviewed people, so I don't.
Maybe you want to talk about the creative process in his mind.
the sketching and everything as well.
How
Yeah.
do you, how do
Design
you start?
process.
Well,
Yeah,
it's now you say that you have often you work on assignment. So somebody
Yeah.
says, I want you to make this and this
Yeah.
for me, like a
Yeah.
portrait of a person
Yeah.
or whatever.
okay,
But,
yeah,
but
I
it used to
can,
be different. It used to be before. That's I think the important or the more interesting part is why did you decide
to work with wood.
well, not
For
to work
instance.
with wood, but to make a certain piece that you like. What's his name?
The dude.
I recognize it by Frau's name.
Come on.
Is he in
Jeff
Arab?
Bezos.
Jeff
Okay,
Bezos.
yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, okay. Well, I can try to explain something. Well, let me first. I've always been creating stuff, and I, as a kid, I created all sort of things, working with all different materials because my mom, she's really creative, and she.
Unlike that.
She, my father wasn't, but my mom was.
Yeah, my mom was always in watercolor.
I went to the Montessori school in Holland, which is a school that does a lot about creative things. So that was nice too. So I worked with a lot of materials, and then I turned into. I studied history, and then I became a journalist. And to be a journalist, you have to be creative too.
Yeah.
Not to imagine news, to create news, but to the way when you write for a newspaper, you have to write
Oh yeah,
in
like
a
in
creative
English.
way.
Yeah, I also enjoy writing. It's fun.
And I loved writing. And then I was a journalist for television, a reporter. And then you have to think about images, how to make the story interesting. Sorry?
The format of it.
The format and what images do you use to tell the
Yeah.
story. And I was, not to brag, but I was pretty good at that. But during my
I
holidays,
missed all those years.
yes,
I
wow,
was in New York.
yeah,
The whole entire time, yeah.
Yeah,
But-
but he was a journalist.
yeah. During the holidays, I had the luck to go to a big house in the south of France of an aunt of my wife. And after a few days of reading books, I wanted to create. And of course, I couldn't create news stories there because I didn't have a camera and stuff. So I started creating things like I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
And for instance, I worked also with wood, but then like trees, and I started making totem poles
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff like that. So I did that for a while, and then I used old wood to make frames for paintings and stuff like that. And I must say that I've always been looking around, also to other artists on the internet, and they inspire you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's good to be inspired. So I guess one day I found this man. He's in Rotterdam, and he also works with wood, more in the mosaic way. And I also did mosaics with paper in my spare time. So I thought his work was really nice. So I tried to do something like him.
Yeah.
And that was my first piece. It was a Ford Mustang in wood.
I think I saw. Is it still here? Or
No,
is it
yeah, but no,
There's still something similar.
Yeah, it's far away. It's not that I'm like you. It's an old piece, and I'm not too proud of it anymore.
Yeah.
so
It was hidden somewhere.
so I don't really hang it like.
Yeah.
So then I started making more and more. I still was a reporter then, but I did it like 1 day a week and then 2 days a week, and by doing it got better and better and better because in
Yeah.
the beginning I had to
Learn the
to
basics.
learn how to do it. I mean, I didn't know. I saw the piece of the other guy, and he didn't tell me how he works.
Yeah.
So I had to find out myself, and my methods, the way that I do it, is still my secret.
Yeah.
And why? Not that I'm afraid that everybody will do the same,
Yeah.
but I think it has to be magical,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
So what I do tell people is that I use a photo for reference, and that I don't use computer techniques to point out the lines, so to speak.
Yeah.
I see those lines myself.
Yeah.
And then I use a mix of techniques, and I'm not going to
go into
to tell
secret.
the secret, but I use a mix of techniques that I made better in the last 15 years that I've been an artist.
Yeah.
So of course, yes, in the beginning the pieces were more rough rudimentary, and now they're getting more and more sophisticated. Thank you, sir.
You would ace in visual arts with that language.
But that's how it goes about, and that's why I also love the motto of Chuck Close.
Yeah.
We artists go to work every day or come to work and get to work every day.
Yeah.
And by creating, you are getting better and better.
Yeah,
and better.
you improve all the time. So it's like evolution. You're always evolving.
Yes.
Did you draw those pictures of other charcoal?
No, they are from other artists.
Because they're really, really good.
They are. I love him. The other Jeff Bridges is an American. He's a photographer and an American guy that I met. And the blondie, he's a Dutch guy, and we became friends on Facebook. And he drew Blondie, and I saw it, and I said, I want to buy that. So that was a Christmas present to myself a few years ago.
Yeah. And I also saw a picture of a rock star over there. Who is that?
That's Mick Jagger.
Oh, I should recognize that.
Yeah.
He looked a bit like David Bowie for a moment. They look very similar.
They do. They are both like very slim, and the clothing is a bit the same.
Yeah, and
they used to be friends.
Yeah, I do listen to the sort of combined of those two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the Rolling Stones. Papa once saw them live
Yeah.
when he worked at a hotel.
Actually, I used to be their bouncer for a few concerts in the Netherlands together with Raymond.
Oh, yeah?
In the Kuip in Rotterdam.
Oh, yeah?
We were the security guys.
Oh.
And they had 3 concerts, 3 days, and one concert I could stand front stage.
Oh, so you were right there.
Yeah.
No, I saw them in a different setting. I worked in a hotel in New York in the late 80s. There was the guys from Studio 54.
Yes.
Steve Rubel and Ian Schrager. After they were convicted of felon, they were felons. They had evaded taxes, and they were caught doing that.
Yeah.
Very stupid. They went to jail, and after coming out of jail, they're convicted felons, and a convicted felon in the United States cannot have a liquor license. So they had Studio 54 and no liquor license. So they decided to barter the building, because they owned the building, Studio 54, for a little crummy hotel on Madison and 37th. And that became the Morgan's Hotel. And that was their first hotel. And their hotel group they called the Morgan's Hotel Group. And their second hotel was another crummy, SRO, single room occupancy kind of building.
Yeah.
And that was the Royalton Hotel. And that Royalton Hotel was completely designed by Philippe Stark. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I became front office manager there. And the people that stayed in these hotels were all Hollywood
Rock stars,
artists.
Because
Too bad you never met Warhol.
It's it was the Andy Warhol scene. They came from that. Steve Rubel died this first summer that I worked there, because he died of AIDS. And Ian Schrager stayed behind, and he continued the chain. But what happened, I was working at the Royalton Hotel one night at the front desk, because I was front office manager. So had a couple of different departments under me, and suddenly the Stones came in. And they set up and they started playing in the lobby. With a very skinny, long building. It was a block long, 44th Street, between 44th and 45th Street, 43rd Street, sorry. And so, with a very skinny building. So it was a very long, skinny lobby that was with staircases going down on one side. And at the far end where I was with the desk, that's where they set up. And they played
So you
about
were
an hour.
front stage.
Yeah, and it was completely unplanned. Because even, I was front office manager,
Yeah.
it was a small hotel, so
Yeah.
there was a general manager above me. He didn't even know that they were coming. But of course, we let them. you
Yeah.
know,
But weren't you afraid that too many people would flock to the building?
No, because
New York is
it was by accident that people found out.
Wow. Wow. That's
Yeah.
a great.
By the
That's
time
another
it
great
was-
story.
But it's
yeah.
a nice story. Yeah.
Too bad I wasn't alive.
No. Well, you will have your time.
Yeah.
You'll have your.
There's not very
You'll
much
have your
rock stars.
private.
This was like
private
1988.
concerts.
1988.
Yeah, but there are no more rock artists like David Bowie or Mick Jagger or anyone. So unfortunately, and also Kurt Cobain's gone. So she doesn't like Kurt
But-
Cobain.
She's like regrets that she didn't live already then, but
I can't
you,
decide that
you
for
still
myself.
live after, you
Yeah.
know. So it could be that you lived from 1900 till 1960. Then you would not have known
No.
any of this.
I guess, but we've seen the early
So,
start of rock.
You're living at least after it,
Yeah,
so
but
you can
maybe
still
you wouldn't
enjoy it.
have recognized it or heard it. Not everybody heard it, I
Yeah.
suppose. Yeah, well,
I think maybe if you're part of the art scene, you hear it earlier.
yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
So now Jeff Bridges, to go
Yeah.
back to Jeff. Why
Yes.
did you make Jeff?
Because
you
I'm a
like the
fan.
movie?
Yeah, I like his. So that's a good question. I do commission work, and of course that's what somebody else likes. We talk about it before, like saying, what do you like, what photos would I use for reference. But my free work, for instance, the Jeff Bridges, I like the guy, and so I thought.
And the movie, that movie is fun.
Yeah, the Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
So I like that. So I wanted just to create him because I like the guy. For instance, the Mao portrait I did. Of course, Andy Warhol also did some of
He did Mao, yeah.
portraits like that.
Yeah.
And that's the official painting of Mao. And I was in China a few years ago, and I wanted to buy a copy of the official portrait.
Yeah.
And in the end, I found one, and I because this was in Shenzhen, and there's an artist village and a lot of copyists. And in the beginning, I found a portrait that I really liked, but I thought I'll have a look around because there are like hundreds of artists. So in the end, I said no, I want the first one that I saw, and I went back to that gallery, and it was closed.
Oh.
So then I decided to create a portrait in wood based on the official portrait.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do it because I get a commission.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do it because I just like a person. And sometimes I just want to do it because, well, for instance, the Mao portrait, because I wasn't able to buy oil paintings, so I decided as a memory of that trip to Shenzhen and China to create a piece like that based on the oil painting that I couldn't buy.
Yeah.
So you get your inspiration from everything. Some people ask me, where do you get your inspiration? Yeah, it's just by listening, reading, talking, and I have enough inspiration for the coming 1,000 years, so to speak.
I noticed you have a lot of paintings of people with like skeleton over them.
Yeah, that's the artwork of a really good friend of mine, Butch Anthony. He's an artist in Alabama, and I met him through a mutual show. He wasn't there, but I liked his work, and I sent him an email with photos, and he invited me over, and I went to Alabama, and we became friends, and I go to him quite often and work together with him, not collaborating, but he does his work and I do my work. And, and I really love his work, so sometimes we trade and sometimes I buy his stuff.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, I'll write down his name and you can look him up. He's a great artist.
I just noticed a really big gun. Where is that from? 'Cause it's just really, really big.
Yeah, it's a training model from the American Army. It's a Browning automatic rifle. It's twice or 3 times as big as the original one, and it's used for training methods for soldiers. Actually, I traded it with people in Manhattan. They have a store in Manhattan called Mantiques, Antiques for Men, and they were interested in a large wooden skull. And I said, I have one, and we can trade. So I sent the wooden skull to Manhattan, and they sent this this gun in a crate to the Netherlands.
It's just really, it must be really, really heavy.
It's not that it's aluminum, so it's not super heavy.
Yeah.
It's a bit dusty, and it's hard to see because there's a lot of junk in front of it. But
Yeah. There's a lot of skulls.
Yeah.
Animal skulls.
yeah,
Also vertebrae, I think. I see a few.
yeah. Actually, I just found a vertebrae of a sea dog. It's laying somewhere when I was in Schiermonnikoog 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I for me a skull is not death. For
No.
me, a
Yeah.
skull is force, power, and I really like the form.
Yeah, because you also did a lot of skulls, also the
Yeah.
animal skull and the human skulls.
Yeah,
Yeah, I also enjoy drawing anatomy, but not just like, for example, cells and hearts and everything.
yeah.
But not just that. I also like to put my own designs in them.
Mhm.
So I just sort of doodle randomly, and then when I'm bored or don't want to teach or something, even though it's technically not allowed, but I'm not going to limit myself.
No, that's good.
Those are really big antlers. Are they from a deer or a caribou?
I wouldn't really know. I just bought it in a second-hand store, so sort of.
We should go to secondhand stores more often.